All right, everybody. Welcome back to Hometown Hauntings. This is the podcast where we get to know the ghosts and paranormal activity of your local city. I'm Tim. I'm one of the hosts here, and I'm here with Misty as well. And this week we are highlighting Denver. And for Denver, we actually reached out and grabbed the lovely Luna, who is joining us. Luna, I was told that you're actually one of our tour guides.
Yes.
I think I was actually just told that a minute ago, but I knew that because I hired you.
Yes.
Right.
I totally hired you. Yeah,
You totally did.
I absolutely did. Today we'll talk about all the ghost hauntings in Denver and stuff like that. But the focus on the podcast, what we're trying to do is get people out and about in their own cities. So we're gonna dive into why people who are living around Denver, when they're not smoking legalized marijuana, should get out and meet some ghosts. Actually, maybe you should totally smoke marijuana
And then go look for ghosts.
I think that is what we're going to push here. Marijuana
and ghost hunting.
And ghost hunting.
Actually, one of the stops on our Capitol Hill tour is at the Marijuana Mansion, which is like an old mansion, but they have a weed shop in the back. So you could do both.
There you go.
That sounds like a plan.
Partake and hunt.
Yeah, totally. So let's learn a little bit more about you, Luna. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How do you end up in Denver? Are you from Denver? Why are you even working for a ghost tour company?
Well, I was born in Utah, but we moved to Colorado when I was 2. Mm-hmm. So I don't really remember Utah, and that's probably for the best.
Were you in a cult? Like in Utah, were you part of a cult? I heard that cults are...
No, we did not escape from a cult.
All right.
But Mom did not want me to grow up like hella Mormon. Mm-hmm. So we pieced out of there. And I grew up in a little town. Well, I guess it's not that little anymore, but it's called Golden. And it's like the Wild West little suburb of Denver. It's only like 20 minutes away.
Isn't there a famous beer that is like Golden, Colorado? Like
Coors Brewery is in Golden, Colorado.
Ooh.
Fun fact of the podcast. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been in Denver ever since?
Well, I moved to New Orleans for 3 years.
Oh.
Which was epic. And I wish I had thought about being a ghost tour guide there because that would have been so much fun. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously.
Yeah. We are hiring in New Orleans for tour guides right now.
Oh, I know.
You should put your application in. Maybe I'll hire you again.
Well, as soon as I get that
urge
time travel thing down, I'll just work both markets.
There you go.
Sweet.
But I loved it there. It was just really humid and there were a lot of bugs, which isn't exactly my vibe.
No.
So we're back in Colorado, and by we, I mean my mom and my 2 cats.
Aw.
What's your cat's names?
Casimir and Mishka.
Okay. We have lots of animal lovers here.
Yeah, I totally understand why you would leave New Orleans. I'm not a huge fan of the South. The weather actually has a lot to do with it. Weather like today is perfect. It's like 50 degrees outside. I'm from the mountains myself, but Pennsylvania mountains, not real mountains like where you are. But yeah, I miss it a lot. The bugs down here are kind of crazy. And the people down here are a little crazy too. They totally are. But anyways, so you're in Denver and you saw an ad that said, hey, let's be a ghost tour guide. So have you always been interested in the paranormal, or is this just something like, I'll make some extra money and I guess it's kind of cool?
No, I've always been interested in paranormal. Mostly like, I'd say like the mystical side of it. Like when I was growing up, my mom always had like an altar, and I always have done tarot readings, and we come from like Romanian gypsies, like my family lineage.
You got any vampires in there as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's why I have most of my curtains drawn, because I'm actually still part vampire. So.
No, don't take this the wrong way, but are you being serious or?
No,
Oh, okay. Like, well, I got to be careful because like there's some
There's
people.
some people that really believe in that.
Yeah, and I
Or
mean,
partake
actually,
in that lifestyle.
yeah. If you
Yeah.
listened or
Fine.
watched the New Orleans podcast, we did a
Yeah.
podcast with Christian Simmons, who's one of our tour guides in New Orleans, and vampires kept coming up, and I was actually very surprised that there are people who are like, I am a vampire,
And
and
they
I'm going
live
to
that
drink human
lifestyle.
blood.
Yeah.
They literally drink human blood.
Yeah. So we
Which-
just want to be respectful of your lifestyle if that was the thing, and probably ask a lot of questions if it was, because I was very intrigued.
Dude,
I don't mean anything bad
No,
towards
yes.
them. And I think of the people in New Orleans because there's a bar there called like the Dungeon or something,
yep, still here.
which I went to with like some of my goth friends,
Uh-huh.
which
Mhm.
was really fun, really cool. But I would definitely probably throw up if I drank blood.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
do that, and you'll get
Really, I
hepatitis.
mean, I have an aversion to sunlight. That's all.
No, it's okay. I do too.
Don't like the sun. Night owl.
Nah, night owls are the only way to be.
Yeah.
Like I can never sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So growing up with a mom who created this environment, like how did that impact you as a person? Like I know that I never I did not grow up in that manner. I actually kind of stumbled into the paranormal through history and Gettysburg and all that stuff. But how do you think that had an impact on you today?
Well, I think the impact was profound because I was always open to any possibility.
Uh-huh.
I've never been closed off to anything like that.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I believe that vampires could have been real, could
Mhm.
still be real. Ghosts are obviously real. There's way too much evidence pointing to that. I mean, sometimes we can see through the veil,
Yeah.
and that's when we see paranormal stuff. It's like, it's always been a thing for me. So it's when people try to tell me about it, like on tours and stuff, I'm just like trying to make them feel more comfortable because sometimes I just forget that other people weren't like taught that it's okay to talk about what you saw, and like it's really not that weird. Like billions of people have definitely seen a ghost, at least.
Yeah. And a lot of them are afraid to admit it because they're always afraid that they're going to be judged. Not
Yeah.
everybody is as
Ridiculed by everybody.
open-minded as you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you are giving tours, I mean, how many people do you think are believers? Like how often do you encounter those people who are like, no, you're wrong. No such thing as ghosts.
Well, I actually ask at the beginning of every tour, like, do we have any serious non-believers?
Mhm.
And usually there's not anybody that's like super hard. No, I don't believe in it. This
Mhm.
person dragged me here, which is nice because, I mean, we can convert them, but it's better when people just are a little bit open.
Yeah.
All you people
know?
from Utah always trying to convert people to one thing or another.
Don't push me into the Utah category, okay?
So do you think because you're so open in how you were brought up that you're able to convey and to receive more ghost and spirituality?
Yeah. I mean, being open is like a huge part of the job, really, and a part of my personal life. But like growing up, my mom could always see ghosts,
Uh-huh.
like she could see spirits, and she would, not like scare me, but she would tell me about it, and I'd be like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
And for a long time, I didn't think that I could see them. But when I was about 7, we did have a ghost in our townhouse that we lived in. And I had like the finished basement was like my kid's sanctuary because I had a lot of friends and I had bunk beds and a water bed. I was really spoiled, but it was like my haven down there.
No, I agree with you. I think that the proper mindset when you're dealing with the paranormal is super important. And I've noticed over the years that as I don't want to say deal with other people because that always sounds negative, but as I interact with other people, especially people who are non-believers, the more you can get their mind to just open up and accept like there is more around you than what your mind's letting you believe.
Mhm.
Then those people all of a sudden start seeing things or hearing things or even just feeling things that they didn't feel before. So I do think having an open mind is really important. So yeah, thanks, Mom.
Good upbringing. Good job, Mom.
So
Yes.
so the ghost that
I
was
love
in
my
your
mom.
yeah. So the ghost that was in your townhouse, did it have a name? Like what was the deal with that ghost?
I called it Pajama Boy. I I guess I never got a name from him.
Hmm.
But he was wearing red and white striped pajamas. And the way that we found out that he was not a real person is I was playing downstairs in my bougie, like
Playhouse.
On your
kid
Yeah.
waterbed.
apartment.
Yeah.
And I had gone upstairs and Mom was like, "Hey, how's it going down there? Sounds like you're really entertaining yourself." And I was like, "Myself? No, my friend is with me." And she was like, "Okay,
Right.
here we go. Now
Dun, dun,
you can
dun.
see him too. Welcome to the family."
Do you think those kind of things are hereditary?
Yes.
Like you do?
Yes.
Like
100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never been in a situation where, like, I have 2 children and I don't think that they're more able to see anything.
Or less
But then
than.
again, like, I don't know that I have like I don't know. I think I'm just lucky or unlucky.
Or you
I
put
don't know.
yourself in areas to see more. Maybe they're not into the same thing you are, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I think you were really right about being open,
Yeah.
Right.
because if your mind is closed off to that section of the realm that we live in,
Mm-hmm.
then you won't ever see it,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Now, there's a whole other
Right.
world around us that we're not aware of. I mean, I mean, and not to dive down into this topic too much, but I mean, the idea of dimensions and energy transfer between dimensions. I mean, even though they call it theory, I mean, it's pretty much accepted scientific fact that those things
Yeah.
happen. So, yeah, I mean, but your brain's kind of trained to just filter all that out. I think,
Explain away.
yeah, I heard somebody one time, it might have been, one of those famous physicists or
Mm-hmm.
somebody that said, the biggest thing that your brain does is actually filters out everything that's completely unnecessary for your survival.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be like, God only knows what our brain is essentially tricking us into ignoring.
Hmm.
I think so.
And maybe that's why you do need the marijuana at
To
the,
pull reality back.
the
I
haunted
don't know.
place.
So thinking of your tours, though, do guests see or have interactions or anything like that?
I've had a lot of guests have experiences.
Okay.
Like I was telling you before, like when we were talking, I
Mhm.
do the like really downtown Denver tours
Yeah.
mostly. Which you wouldn't think that you would see spirits or capture anything because it's real busy in downtown Denver. But people have captured photos. Multiple, countless people have said they've seen shadow people. Everybody knows what shadow people are, right?
Mhm. Yep.
But feel free to
Okay.
explain it because there's people listening that maybe have no idea what a shadow person is.
Well, shadow people are basically ghosty entities,
Mm-hmm.
but they look like your shadow from the ground, just standing upright.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to describe it. But you usually see them out of the corner of your eye, and then you try to look over and they like dart behind something or disappear. But I see a lot of shadow figures, and guests have as well, which I think is so cool.
Shadow people are actually really interesting, and they're one of my favorite topics, especially when we're in haunted locations, because if you're in the right locations, you can see them with, a good degree of regularity.
Okay.
So, you mentioned something. You said that you see them out of the corner of your eye, and you turn your head and they're gone. And I think I know why. And I don't think it's all.
Ooh.
I don't know that it's always because they dart away from you either. So my friend Chris Allen, Chris and I go way back. We've been good friends for about 10 years. He actually owns another tour company called Haunted Savannah Tours. But anyways, him and I were in this haunted location. It was called Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, and it's outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's about 40 minutes or so west of Chattanooga. And if you can imagine an old abandoned hospital, long hallway, lots of rooms on the side, doors, all that stuff. So we had this idea that we were just going to blanket this entire area with cameras and just let them run all night. So we had a camera in each room facing out into the hallway, and then a camera on each end of the hallway shooting both ways. And I was sitting near one of the cameras at night, and out of one of the rooms, I saw a shadow figure start to peek out. You'll notice that It's almost like just something they do. They do this thing where they kind of like
lurking.
peek around the corner.
Okay.
And I noticed it, and then all of a sudden it just walked straight across the hallway. We got it on camera. Like, I don't even know where that file is, but maybe if Chris is listening, we can find that file and throw it up. Like, it's actually a really good video footage of a shadow person walking across the hallway. But then it hit me. I was like, holy fuck. Like, we had cameras in those rooms, so we probably got it from another angle, right? Like, because you could clearly see that it walked out of this room and into another room. So we pulled the files from those cameras, and there was nothing on them. Like, we watched the footage expecting to see, like, I guess you could say, like, the side profile of a shadow person. Nothing on any of them. So over the course of the next, 2 years, we were able to essentially replicate that, where we had the same situation. Every single time we were only able to catch the video footage of that shadow person from one direction. So my working theory is that shadow people are actually just two-dimensional. Or like, they have a height and a width, but they have absolutely no depth at all. So when you do view them from the side or a different angle, like, you literally don't see them anymore, but it doesn't mean that they're gone. And I was thinking, because
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm not saying that this is fact. I'm just saying that everything that we recorded supports this idea that these shadow people are actually two-dimensional. They have no depth at all. So you could literally be looking at the side of one right now, so to say, and you wouldn't see it. But if you're in a different position, you would see it. And that's when I started thinking about the fact that what you mentioned, I saw a shadow person on the corner of my eye, and I turned my head and it was gone. Maybe it wasn't gone. Maybe it was just the fact that you changed the angle at which you were viewing it at.
I couldn't see it.
And now it's not there anymore.
I know.
But it
I
is
learn
there.
something new all the time. I'm all intrigued in some things. So yeah.
Yeah. So that was a little thing that we did actually a lot of really cool experiments. I'm not going to dive into them all right now, but
so jealous of some of that stuff.
So anyways, shadow people walking the streets of Denver.
Yeah.
Setup.
Yeah.
So, Zach Bagan style.
Yeah, Zach. He's not a bad guy. Like, hey, I got him to like pose with my daughter for pictures. She had a huge crush on him, so I'm like, cool, you're cool with me, Zach. Not that he gives a crap about what Tim Mullen thinks about him, but so shadow people walking the streets of Denver. I think what most people would find interesting is that Denver is actually a really haunted city. So the idea of shadow people walking the streets isn't that far-fetched. But when people think of haunted cities, rarely is Denver at the top of the list.
Denver. And I'm a West Coast girl, and Denver never came to my mind as haunted.
Yeah. So Luna, like, why do you think Denver is as haunted as it is?
I'm glad you brought this up, because people don't think of Denver as being a haunted town, but it really is. And first of all, Denver itself is like a cowboy town. So it's been around for a long time. Like, I know people don't associate it, but it's pretty old.
Right.
Got a lot of old structures, and we all know old buildings bring about old energy, which create ghosts. Okay. I also think that, well, this isn't like what my personal opinion, but Denver is built on a lot of ley lines, which are lines that go all throughout the earth. And Denver just happens to be on a lot of them. So now this is my personal opinion that can cause a higher activity of ghosty stuff, because the ley lines hold their own energy, their own like magnetic field, if you will. So, I mean, it's a real haunted place.
Yeah. I mean, and I think also probably like the like what Denver is literally sitting on it. And I could totally be wrong, but the way I understood it was Denver, the literal rocks that are under the city, like the earth. There's actually lots of flowing water through there. And I'll take your word for it that you're agreeing with me, so that might be true. But we've experienced that in a lot of places, usually a smaller location, not a whole city. But when you do have, certain types of rocks underground and you have water flowing through them, it almost is like a battery of sorts that constantly recharges itself. That helps provide this energy.
On top of that, Denver, the city, has, not right now because it's winter and they're all frozen, but when it's not winter, there are hundreds of like fountains water features all over the city, which have been said to be conduits for paranormal entities. Like they can flow through and use the current of the water to manifest more easily.
Right. Now, do you think that that is actually the way it works, or do you think that it's more, because there's two lines of thought with that. It's like, okay, all these things give ghosts the energy they need to do something, or the other train of thought is that those streams of energy actually have nothing to do with the ghosts themselves, but it makes it easier for them to come through the veil, so to say, and the ghosts actually don't need energy at all.
Oh, I think they need some kind of some energy. That's why I think I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Either.
I just play one on TV kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't even play one on TV. So
anytime you watch something, it seems to drain like light sources or anything like that.
Well, I think the battery is draining and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people think that, oh, like I have a flashlight and or my camcorder, everything went dead, and that's a ghost using it to do something with. One, what the hell did ghosts do before batteries? What, they just had no energy? Oh, there's no such thing as camcorders. I guess we'll be quiet. Electromagnetic energy, depending on how it is materialized, can actually interfere with the flow of ions, which would essentially make a battery dead.
Okay.
Because the energy isn't moving from the battery to the device anymore. So I've always been curious. But then again, that electromagnetic event, we all know electromagnetic energy is associated with paranormal activity. Maybe it's not the ghost taking the energy from the battery, and that's why your battery is dead. Maybe it's just the electromagnetic energy is interfering with the flow of ions out of the battery, which is providing power to your device. Because one of the things I've noticed is that there's devices that go dead. Sometimes they'll come back on later.
Yeah.
With full power.
Yeah.
Food for thought. This is a very philosophical and scientific proposal you just made here.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pontificating quite a bit.
Yeah, and
today.
I
don't know what the hell's going on.
Good in science, so
shout
out to Danny Brown who helped me pass science.
Danny Brown, the guy who wrote the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, that Danny Brown.
Yeah, I had no idea you guys were good friends. I would like to pick his brain. You should set up a Google Meet. Let's get him on the next podcast. Dan Brown.
Yeah.
Now that we know you know Mistie, get on here. So the people who live in Denver, do they realize that it is as haunted as it is? Because I know, like for us, like in Louisiana, until we started digging around, I had no idea. But the people who live there is it a pretty open town to this, that people are aware of it, or do you find that
narrow-minded?
Yeah, like what do the people there think?
People as a whole here are open-minded, but I do get a lot of like locals on tours, and they don't think of Denver as a haunted place. It's almost like no one really does.
Yeah, I mean, why is that?
For some reason, just not on the haunted radar.
Yeah, and that's what we want to bring attention to.
Yeah, get out.
Get
people
out.
of Denver.
See what else is out there. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I'm Matthew.
And I'm Quentin.
And this is Visceral Reactions, your regular stop for irregular amounts of horror. Join us as we analyze horror movies and explore their historical contexts. From classic scares to hidden gems, hear in-depth discussions and new perspectives on the genre. Tune in every week to expand your horror horizons on Visceral Reactions, the podcast.
So what about the other types of, so I know we just mentioned locals, but I'm kind of curious, like I based on our conversation earlier, I don't know the exact word I would want to use, but you seem more like a spiritual person. Like you talked about, your mom and you being open to this stuff, seeing these things. You work with tarot cards. Are there a lot of communities in Denver that you can associate with that are like that or have that way of thinking?
Oh, definitely. I would say like healing, and I don't know what to call it, but there's always been a large presence of that kind of stuff in Colorado.
Now, is
Um,
that a large percentage as compared to like other places, or is it just you just have a lot of people, or do you think as a percentage, Colorado maybe has more of those individuals than other areas?
I mean, I don't know like the facts,
Oh
but
no, we're just guessing
I
here.
feel like Colorado has a high percentage of people that are open to that kind of stuff.
Well, I guess maybe it kind of makes sense because not the stereotype anyone, but it does seem like those type of individuals are more like into nature.
Yeah.
And like you guys have like some amazing
like
nature.
everybody has bicycle racks attached to their car.
Yeah, like that's like Oregon. I don't know. I think of Oregon when I think of that. But no, like you guys have amazing scenery and natural locations there. I went down to Garden of the Gods once. Is that what it's called? Garden of the Gods?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I've drove through Denver, been to Grand Junction a couple times.
Yeah, I've never been there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it's like the nature thing. People like, the tree loving hippies,
Kind of like a
which I'm not saying in a negative way.
Right.
Yeah.
Are attracted to those type of areas.
Yeah. As a like hippie child, I mean, my name is Luna,
Right.
as you guys know. So, and my mom's name is Star. So we've got a little bit of hippie in our blood as well.
Right. So is that your name like on your birth certificate, or is that your name?
Is that your legal name,
my name,
or is that the name you go by?
That's your name. Okay, good enough.
So like people would ask if we were hippies or if my mother was a hippie because I'm Misty and my sister Stormy.
Right.
And we were close in age. Your mom must have been hippie? No.
I need a nature name.
No.
Yeah, Misty, Stormy, Luna, Star.
Yeah.
I want to be like. I want to be Monsoon. I'll bring the rain.
Oh Lord.
Dark clouds above.
Yes.
Tim must be around. Monsoon
here.
must be around.
Watch out.
So
that's great.
So when people are on your tours, especially locals, and they start to find out that Denver actually is a pretty haunted city, do you find that they actually take steps to learn more, or is it they just go back to their townhouse, throw on some skis, and
they're done?
Drink.
Or when the tour's over, do they stop and ask you questions? Like to find out more other locations where they should go scouting for things themselves?
I think people are shocked at the information that they learn.
Okay.
And I would say locals especially, I mean, people visiting also, like if they have enough time on the rest of their visit, but locals too, they are really curious where they should go check out next for their haunted experience. And I mean, I always tell them to go to Cheeseman Park because that's the most haunted place in Denver. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's on every top 10 most haunted list.
Yeah, including ours.
In the country.
Man. Yeah. So what, Cheeseman Park, that name has been coming up a couple of times. We were actually talking about it before we got on with you. So what is the deal with Cheeseman Park? I know that has something to do with bodies. What's the deal with these bodies?
Yes. Basically, to sum up, it used to be a cemetery, and then this was a long time ago. The rich people that were being buried there decided it was getting too trashy for them, so they made their own rich people cemetery, and then that one fell into disarray. It became an eyesore for the mansions that are around there, which there are hundreds of mansions that surround the park. It's really really cool. So anyway, they petitioned to turn it into a park, as you do. But you have to move all of the bodies from the previous cemetery. And they hired a guy who they thought was chill, and he turned out to be not chill.
Gotcha.
Dun, dun, dun.
And
that's how all ghost stories start. Yeah. He wasn't chill.
He was. We thought he was, and he was not.
I really don't want to name drop him because he gets name dropped all the time, and he's such a scoundrel.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
He doesn't deserve it. You can go on our ghost story.
We're not trying to give him any shout outs. Yeah.
Let's just call him Fred.
I like that. Fred the Gravedigger.
Yeah, Fred. Oh, so I see his name here.
This park, it's a local park. It's a city park.
Yeah, it is. It's in Capitol Hill area. And basically, this shady dude decided to not dig up the bodies like a normal person would, and he was getting paid per coffin. So he decided to dig up the adult bodies and cut them into threes and put them into child-sized coffins so that he could get paid more.
Shady shit, Fred.
I know you want to crap on that guy and call him a scoundrel, but I actually think this is the city's fault.
For not hiring a legit person?
No, why would you pay? Like, you brought this upon yourself, Denver, because you paid by coffin.
Not my
Like,
job.
Right.
Like, it's your fault. Like,
Yeah.
quit blaming the unnamed Fred guy. Like,
People find a way to use that system.
like if you would have just paid him by the job.
Yeah.
If you just said, "Hey, we're going to give you half down."
Maybe they didn't
Half
realize
when
there
you're
were so
finished.
many.
No, they knew.
I don't know.
They knew. I know they knew. You want to know how I know they knew?
How do you know?
Because everybody from Denver is very smart.
Oh.
It's true. You're from Utah. Don't get too excited there, Luna.
I'm from Vegas, so I'm out of it too, Luna, so it's okay.
No, they knew. So yeah, Denver, this is all your fault. So all these bodies,
Yeah.
like if you'd have just paid by the job, half down, half when you finish. But nope, you had to try to be fancy and say we're going to pay by the coffin. What do you think was going to
make some
happen?
damn coffins.
I would have cut them up into quarters.
Yeah, but I would have got all of them because I want all of my money.
Yeah, well, that didn't happen. So what happened to the unnamed scoundrel?
I'm sure in retrospect they would have paid by the job.
Yeah, totally.
Somebody basically walked into the grounds and saw just body parts everywhere and then reported that to the authorities, and they fired that scoundrelly guy. Which, to be fair, you're right. There's a lot of parties at blame here.
I would have just like, so I don't know that I would have fired him. I think I would have been like, clean up your shit
Finish the job I paid you for.
and then we'll fire you. But don't tell him you're going to fire him.
Make it sound like all is well.
Just be like, hey, we'll pay you double.
Yeah. To get the job done.
And then just don't pay him. And what's he going to do? Sue you? You could be like, motherfucker, you cut up bodies and like,
I got fingers and toes still hanging out, growing daisies.
you could be like, you don't have a leg to stand on. He'd be like, yeah, I do. It's right here.
So
Anyway.
that
Okay.
park has lots of, I love cheesy like punchlines. I'm such a nerd. But that park has lots of activity then because there's still bodies there.
Yeah, because once they found this display of gruesome body parts, nobody else wanted to finish the job. So they basically just put the bodies and body parts back in the ground, put some nice fresh grass over it, and it's a park now.
So kids
Yay.
go play and watch out for Grandpa's toe.
Well, are there any plans? I mean, I'm certain there's not, but had the city of Denver ever thought about going in and giving those people a proper burial?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
The most that happens is sometimes they have like little projects around the park. I mean, the government does, and they're digging and they find body parts every single time.
Where they're excavating, they find
Actually,
legs.
Yeah. So an idea just popped in my head. I think that we could solve this.
Okay.
The Cheeseman Park problem. I think that we can get all these bodies and everything cleaned up pretty quick. But we're going to have to convince the kids that they're like Easter eggs. I think we could totally pull this off, like the Cheeseman Park Easter egg hunt. And we'll convince the kids that like
The eggs are underground.
Yeah, the eggs are underground and they might look like a pelvis. I
don't think that's going to work.
Might get explode. Get to digging.
First of all,
excavating.
there is a low estimation of 2,000 bodies remaining in the park.
Okay.
2,000! Low guess. Low ball.
That's a lot.
Okay, so that's double because anytime I worked medical and they would say, do you smoke? And you say no, or you say yes, you drink one drink, they always double it because they think you're lowballing. So yeah, that's at least
I mean,
half.
2,000, that's like 1,000 times more people than listen to this podcast.
Why do you have to be such a shit? You shit on so much.
I'm totally kidding. I mean,
I don't take his crap. See that? That's why we fit well.
There's at least 4. Nah, I'm kidding. So the idea of, an improper burial, that seems to be a common theme with hauntings, right? I mean, I think that's why the idea of, it seems like every other location in America, it's because it's built upon a Native American burial
Didn't you watch
ground.
Poltergeist?
No, I don't watch movies.
That's old.
I know. I watched a movie the other day. Wait, no, I didn't. That was a show.
Okay. Yeah. You thought you did, but you're wrong. Did you ever watch Poltergeist, Luna, as a kid?
No.
Okay.
She's like, I lived it.
I'm so old.
Is,
Uh-huh.
but I don't do good with those kind
Stuff
of
like that.
movies.
Okay.
Well, what is it with like, why do you think, because I try to imagine that I'm dead. I do it often, and I hope and pray for it. But I imagine, like, okay, so now I'm a dead body.
I'm so glad I have somebody who else smiles when you say shit like that.
I'm amped up today.
I hear you.
I had too much caffeine or something.
Caffeine, yeah.
But no, so seriously, like, okay, like I'm a dead body and they're going to put me in the ground because I don't want to be cremated, because I think that's even more weird. Like I want to be a part of the earth forever.
Okay.
I want to be preserved for future generations. But anyway, so they put me in the ground and then somebody like messes up my grave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if my energy, soul, presence, whatever you want to call it, was still around, why would I give a shit? Like, I'd be like, I'm a ghost now. I can do whatever I want. Fuck that body. Why do you think that, like, do you think that the idea of disturbed burial grounds is more of our creation than it actually is something that would create a haunting?
No, it happens too often for it to be us imagining it.
Hmm.
Because, like you said, it's always on an Indian burial ground, or the land was disturbed or it used to be a cemetery, and then they either turned it into a park like Cheeseman Park, or they built over it. And I mean, we could try to ask them, the dead, but we can't ask them right now. But something's to it. Whenever it must be important in finding peace from this human body into the next,
to move
whatever
on.
that is.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, I don't think I would care.
I'm going to be cremated, so I really don't care.
Oh, I'm not going to be cremated.
I want to be cremated in Shawshank to Graceland in the meditation garden. Like, just put my ashes in your leg and like shake it out.
Oh, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting your ashes anywhere near my leg.
Not you.
So we have lots of ghosts in Cheeseman Park. So what do people see? Is it simply, I go into Cheeseman Park at night, assuming that you can go into Cheeseman Park at night, because I've never been there at night, and they're seeing shadow people? Like, what exactly is going on at Cheeseman Park today?
You can go there at night. You can walk through there at night. Well, first of all, there's like structures that have huge pillars, and they're really like grand and big. I know a lot of people that practice their like hula hooping there in the day, in the daytime.
Yeah.
Maybe at night too, if they have the light up ones.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, don't get off topic. But people report seeing full-bodied apparitions, people who live in the mansions nearby, which have basically all been separated into apartments now.
Of course.
Oh, that's a
That's
shame.
like the thing.
Yeah.
It's several apartments now. It used to be one mansion. But people report seeing the outline of headstones. Like, when they look out their window at night, sometimes they can still see the headstones. And I mean, the best one is when you go there for a picnic, even in the daytime, people have reported that they try to stand up to gather their stuff, get their blanket, whatever, and it feels like something's pulling them back to the ground.
I would like to hear somebody's experience from that. If
I want a
they've ever been
ghost to
there.
hold me down.
Feeling is
Oh,
important
yeah.
as well.
Oh, by all means, yeah.
And I don't even mean like physically pulling you. I mean, you can
The
sense
feeling,
that
yeah.
something strange is going on.
And I think that's how, like, if you think that if somebody's staring at you, you don't know until you could sense something around you or somebody staring, and that's what causes you to look.
I mean, after a while, Luna's right. I mean, there were times at my house, because my house is very haunted, and there are times where it's like I know something's there, and I can't tell you why. It's just my body is saying
Something's
like
there.
something's
Yeah.
here, and pull out a voice recorder or something, and inevitably something is there.
Yeah.
it's funny how your body can
Is
be
alert.
more in tune with
Mhm.
all of this paranormal stuff if you would, as we talked about before, just open up your mind to it and understand that this is a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to the point. It's almost like I feel like I'm a ghost detector to a degree. It's like I
That's
know,
cool.
like I
Mhm.
know they're here. I mean, it's not a trait unique to me.
Yeah.
There's tons of people who do it, but like you can almost just like, okay, I know something's here.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I can sense a lot of strange things.
People need to be more attentive to their body and just receptive to what could be going on around them. I think a lot of people block things out because they're just go in life. So yeah.
Yeah, or they're just, I think there's a lot of, it's kind of like Bigfoot, right? Like people are afraid to talk about it.
Mhm.
Probably more so with Bigfoot than ghosts. But
Yeah.
like, it's like I experience things or they just want to write it off and say like, oh, it was just the house settling.
Yeah.
Because it makes them feel better.
Yeah.
No, my house isn't haunted. Those cabinets are designed to open and close on their
Mhm.
own. Like, yeah, totally. That's the way they were made.
Yeah. So let's talk about the amphitheater, because that is huge, and it's huge for multiple reasons. And the guests and shows that go out there and performances are always amazing. So I know that there's a story behind with the Red Rock Amphitheater.
Red Rocks Amphitheater is probably the hugest venue in all of Colorado.
Mhm.
And I mean, yeah, when you say like famous acts have gone there, it's
Jimi
really,
Hendrix. Yeah.
it's top notch stuff.
Mhm.
But I think what people maybe don't know that much is that you can go walk around there
Mhm.
any day. And it's actually really fun. I mean, of course, it's Colorado, so there's going to be like hardcore workout people that are trying to do all the 900 steps or whatever it is there. But whenever I was little, well, and now, but when I was little, I always thought it was cool to go on the stage where the bands had been.
Mhm.
And there's like to the right of the stage, if you're looking at it,
Okay.
there's a cave that you can like climb up into.
Mhm.
It's so cool. But I mean, also it's kind of weird and kind of spooky too. Not saying that, it really is. But aside from the theater area, it's a huge park.
Okay.
You walk around and you look at all these huge rocks, and there's little paths everywhere
Mhm.
and other caves, and it's very like Native American vibes. And people have reported what they call the hatchet lady. And this has been seen by countless people, and apparently she's a little bit intimidating.
So
Which I might be a little intimidated by a random lady holding a hatchet.
Yeah. So she terrorizes the guest?
Yeah, I think she spooks people out.
Okay. I can imagine.
Mhm. And I don't think she like will chase you or
Yeah.
anything. Like it's not like a horror movie.
Yeah.
But aside from her, even people can hear like sounds and talking and even like old timey music
Okay.
when there's no one else there or no one is performing.
Mhm.
And it's like the way that it's set up is really special with the sound. I don't
Mhm.
know what
The
it's called.
acoustics?
The acoustics,
Yes.
yes. So you can hear it echoing from all around the park.
Yeah.
And I mean, people report that all the time, that they heard like a band playing, but it sounded old
Mhm.
and no one was there.
So do you think that, have you guys ever heard of the stone tape theory?
No.
So the stone tape theory essentially says that like natural materials, in this case rocks, can hold the energy.
Mhm.
And then,
I have heard of this. I love this theory.
yeah, and then essentially like release it for whatever reason
Okay.
at a later date. I don't know how much I buy into that. I'm not saying it's not true. I just honestly I don't know enough to say whether I believe that that's the case or not. But I think Red Rock would be like, if that was the case, if the stone tape theory was the legitimate thing. And I'm not saying it's not. I mean, that you would like, you're there one day and all of a sudden you hear Dave Matthews Band. Like, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. I mean, cause there's lots of rocks there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's
Totally.
slightly off topic. I'm reading here. It says one theory is that when the woman was alive, she heavily partook in homesteading. So was that a big thing around Denver? Like, you know, the pioneers and settlers and all that stuff. I mean, back in the day, was that a big part of Denver's history? Just people coming in, taking land, settling it? I'm going somewhere with this, I promise.
I mean, I'm not an expert on the pioneer history of Denver or that area specifically.
Neither am I.
But
It's okay.
I mean, definitely like log cabins and pioneer people. They
Right.
got here on the wagons and stuff.
Right. So these people that came in, you know, another theory that I read about Denver is the fact that there used to be so many Native Americans in that area. And then
Oh, yeah.
all of us evil white people came in and took all their lands, which caused a lot of the hauntings in Denver too. So it is interesting that they're like, maybe this woman is a Native American or she could be a homesteader.
Those are the opposite of
Yeah.
the spectrum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
She was
Um,
native to the land, or she was a newcomer obsessed with homesteading.
is anybody ever obsessed with homesteading? No, totally. There's like,
There's
people do it
who,
now.
Like,
Yes.
and I'm all about domestic engineers, and I've always worked and was a domestic engineer. But however, I can't do that shit. Like I watch people who bake and like make stuff and do stuff. Calm down, sister. Like it'll be okay. I'm not a homesteader. I don't like the smell of dirt. Like I can't do that.
I'm always covered in dirt. So the Native American culture, I guess we can call it, how prevalent or how much do you think that has influenced the paranormal aspects of Denver today? Like, are there a lot of stories dealing with the Native Americans? Or is that even talked about?
I would say for Colorado as a whole, that would be true. But more in the cities, it's like cowboy energy
Right.
Okay. Wild Wild West.
or like old timey businessman.
We're talking like
Ghosts.
saloons, like almost like what you would imagine like Tombstone being. Like,
Yeah, that's what Denver was. Actually, Wyatt Earp was here and said, "This place is too wild. I'm going to Tombstone."
Where it's
So
a
he
little bit
pieced out.
calmer.
he's so silly. The Wyatt Earp.
That Wyatt Earp.
He's so silly.
He had to go get his homeboy Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
See, I would never thought Denver though as that, because even just
Well, wasn't it mostly like cattle? Like, wasn't it like a big, and I could be totally wrong, but wasn't Denver big into like the cattle industry?
I mean, yes, in parts of Colorado, it would have been cattle or buffalo, but they picked Denver to be like a new metropolis. So they did a lot of construction in the early days of Denver to try to build it up. They wanted it to be as big as New York. They had all these grand plans. So we actually got a lot of huge structures really early on.
Right.
But as far as like money, it was a gold rush town. All of Colorado is based on people finding gold
I
here.
was gonna say, isn't the unsinkable Molly Brown, her mansion was out there? I
Oh,
could be
yeah.
wrong. Yeah, see, I love the unsinkable.
I don't even know who that is.
Part of the Capitol Hill stop. You don't know. Yes, you do. You have seen Titanic. Everyone has seen that movie.
Oh, see, I
Is she the
know
one
from
that?
the old one where Debbie Reynolds was unsinkable Molly Brown.
I have no idea. I have no idea what any of you are talking about.
But
I
she's
think
really-
From Colorado, and I'm like, I definitely know who Molly Brown is.
I saw Titanic. I think I was like 17,
Mhm.
and I had my girlfriend just broke up with me, and I cried.
Oh,
were all
that's
in
a
your
good
feelings.
place to do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm very embarrassed to admit that.
Don't. I remember that
No.
movie came out.
Let
in high
it
school,
out.
yeah.
But he died, and it was sad.
It was, and they should have tried harder. Damn it, that was piss poor effort.
I have never met a woman that would pull me on the board. No,
Maybe
actually,
that's about you.
yeah, it's totally me. No, Stephanie would.
That's good. Then
She'd be like, "Come up here."
oh, try again. At first you don't succeed. Try again.
Well, it seems like a lot of those, I guess we can call them like Wild West towns, like just to generalize a town. Like they do all seem to be haunted, and a lot of those hauntings do date back, or at least the people that we think are the ghosts today date back to that period of time where everything was rough and rowdy and, gunfire in the streets, robbing banks, all that kind of stuff. That period of time seemed to create a lot of ghosts. And I guess that would make sense. There were lots of people dying. I mean, whether it was for nefarious, like murderous reasons, or just, you got some weird disease and died. I mean, people were dying left and right.
Off to get across water. When you on your tours, do you notice is most of your guests locals or half and half?
Actually, I really don't know.
Okay, that's fair.
I can tell you.
Okay.
It's roughly 92% out of towners.
Okay.
Yeah, less than 10% of people
Real
are
fact?
locals.
Probably he does crunches.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like you own the company or something.
Yeah. Like, go figure. No, I do all the marketing. So.
Yeah, I think I just notice it more when people are from here, because I'm like, oh, how cool that you chose to do this in your own city and get to know it better, because I feel like most people just keep working, keep living.
Yep.
They don't think about, they're like, I've lived here for 20 years, and they don't think about how they could learn some new and interesting things about where they're from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
I love hearing where other people are from, and I'm fascinated. So I love them all.
We do too. If you take a tour with us, we love you.
Yes.
We're very thankful for you.
Thank you.
The locals themselves, one of the things, like I said, we're trying to do with this podcast is to help people uncover or just hear about these places. So one, they'll want to learn more and find more locations. But we also want to help them. I guess we can kind of think of it as like plan an evening out on the town, in Denver. So if we did have people in Denver who were very interested in ghosts and they wanted to go to haunted places, I know that they can go check out the mansions. They can walk through Cheeseman Park. But let's say I wanted to take my partner out on the town and we wanted to have a nice dinner. Do you have a restaurant in mind in Denver that is known for being extremely haunted? Maybe I can go get a steak and see a ghost at the same time.
I know that there is I'm not sure if this is going to answer your question properly, but there's like a haunted playhouse. I think it's called Adam's Playhouse.
Adam's Playhouse.
I wanted to work there when I was younger because I thought it'd be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
But then I found out that the actors had to be the waiters as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to be a waitress and it did not go well. So I was like, oh, no way I could do both of those things.
Okay.
It seems like theaters are always haunted. Like whether it's just a simple playhouse or a grand theater, they're always haunted.
Yeah. So also on a night out, let me just throw this out because I love seeing like oddity places or just different kitschy antiques that would be like rare to find, or I don't know, oddities, things that I think between looking at your looks and my look, like that would appeal to us.
Unfortunately, I don't think there's that many.
Okay.
There's like some little ones that are locally owned that I like follow on Instagram.
Okay.
But they just sell like little
novelties,
candles or like little bat bags or stuff like that. But I wouldn't say there's like a cool haunted place like Madame Laveau's shop in New Orleans. We don't have anything like that.
Okay.
Well, I mean, even if you can't do that, just walking around and checking out a lot of these historic mansions, especially like the ones around Cheeseman Park. That's why it's kind of a bummer when you said they turned them into apartments. It's like,
They still look like mansions though.
I know, but it's not the same.
They took
like, I want to know that there's like wealthy people in there that are looking down upon me and being like, get away from my house, you peasant.
Adds to the vibe.
Like,
people judging you.
Yeah. Like, I want
makes
that.
them feel better.
Yeah. Because if they're not judging me, I feel like there's something wrong with me.
I thought of something.
Yeah.
Because you're mentioning Cheeseman and the mansions around it. Well, there's also the botanical gardens that are right by Cheeseman Park, and those are crazy haunted. My mom used to work there, and she had some wild experiences, seeing ghosts, things getting thrown, and her coworkers too. It's a haunted place.
Is it for the same reason that it was on that same ground of the burials, or?
I think they
okay.
share the same ground.
Okay.
But it sounds different though. I mean, Cheeseman
Mm-hmm.
Park, they're like people see things, feel things, but you say botanical gardens, like things are being thrown.
Yeah, more of an anger.
That's because it's like a business. So
Oh.
there's like officey
People,
stuff
yeah.
that they can throw, and
Mhm.
as opposed to the park where they could maybe just throw like some branches.
Yeah.
They have more objects to throw.
We have staplers.
And like a consistency of people every day in their, where the park, it's open environment, that's obviously enclosed offices.
Yeah. Well,
That's enough to anger a lot of people.
offices should always be haunted. I think it brings a good energy into the workplace.
There you go.
I mean, our offices are haunted. I don't know
Yes.
about this building. Have you guys
No.
not this building?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. We have 3 office buildings here within like a 1 block area, and 2 of them are haunted because people have actually seen shit.
Yeah.
Like there's a woman that they always see, but yeah, I'm kind of disappointed this building isn't
This
haunted.
is not.
Anyways, any other advice you'd want to give to somebody who, probably focusing on the locals, like why should somebody that is a local in Denver get out and try to see more of these places?
I mean, number one, why not?
Sure.
And if you're open to finding out cool new things, then you only need to look where you are.
Yeah.
People are always trying to take these vacations and they always think that it's somewhere else,
Mhm.
but it's right here. Easy peasy.
Grass isn't always greener.
Maybe they
somewhere
don't. Maybe
else.
they don't want to envision their town like that. Maybe like the one
Well-
that's not haunted.
Well, go vacations to one of our other
They
cities.
can go somewhere else. They can go
Yeah.
to Mexico or whatever.
New
Yeah.
Orleans.
Yeah, go there and see ghosts. We don't have ghosts here in Denver. We'll just ignore it.
Yes.
So let's get rid of some of the roadblocks. So if I was somebody living in Denver, probably in the suburbs, what would be an excuse somebody would use not to go downtown? I mean, you guys got plenty of parking there, right?
Yeah. I mean, street parking, lots that you pay
Is it
for.
relatively safe downtown at nighttime?
Yeah, Denver's not too wild.
Okay.
I mean, you can see areas where
As
you
any
probably
place.
shouldn't park on the street.
Yeah.
But as long as you have even just a little bit of common sense, you can
Mhm.
tell that there's like a bunch of tents right there.
Yeah.
Maybe don't
Go
park right there.
Yeah.
And also, I would say if people are concerned about that, just find a parking lot,
Yeah.
the underground one, or
Yeah. Parking
Something.
structure or something.
those are really safe. They're
Okay.
always monitored. So
Yeah. So there you have it, Denver people. You have no
Yes.
excuse.
Yes.
Easy parking. It's relatively safe.
Seems lots to do.
Yeah. Get the hell out of your
Yes.
house.
Go walk in and sightsee.
Yeah. Go spend the night in Cheeseman Park.
whoa.
That's what I would do. I would just
No.
sit on a bench all night.
And see what happens. Yeah, you would.
I would. I
Yes.
totally would.
You might make some interesting friends.
Maybe people would help me out. They'd see me sleeping on the
They'd feel
bench.
homeless for
They'd
you.
like bring me a
Okay.
blanket.
Give you a quarter.
Yeah. I would be okay with
I
that.
do think that there's great people in the world and people do things like that. So
Yeah,
yes.
there's like 4 of them. All right, Luna, anything else you want to add?
Just want to say thanks so much for having me on. This was really fun.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being a guest on here. You are adorable. Go and book a tour with Go City Tours and ask for Luna to be your guide.
Are you going to try to be her friend now?
I am because I don't have many friends. I'm like you. I'm friendless.
Oh.
I don't either, so I could use a new friend.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you guys can be like pen pals.
Yes.
On Slack.
On Slack.
Dun,
Yay,
dun,
da, da,
dun.
da. Gives me reason to go out to the West Coast. Yeah.
You need a reason?
No,
Well,
I'm not a huge. Yeah. No.
I like the West Coast, but like high, like Washington.
Mm.
I'm going to find Bigfoot one day, Luna.
Okay, you let me know when you do, because I'd be interested.
Do you ever come back out to New Orleans at all?
I haven't been back, but I always wish to.
Okay.
I will
Well, if you
someday.
ever come to visit, just let us know. We'd love to have you. And it's Mardi Gras season. Whoop whoop.
Yeah, it's always a disaster.
I'm glad I don't have to work through Mardi Gras anymore.
Now we have some tour guides. I think the only day that we're actually closed is Mardi Gras Day itself. Other than that, we run tours every night. But they'll, on Slack and the New Orleans channel, they're always like, avoid this street. There's a parade here. And they're like all, I don't know. They do a really good job of that. But
Well, that's good. You need a system to
Yeah.
work through it.
They do pretty well.
absolutely.
Yes.
All right, Luna. Well, we're going to wrap it up, but we do appreciate you joining us here on Hometown Hauntings.
Very much so.
And thanks for being a part of the team as well.
Thank you so much for being part.
Thank you guys.
Yay.
Bye.
Have you ever seen a ghost? What would you do if you did? Would you try to capture it on video? Or share the story with your family and friends? Your chance to find out is waiting for you. Don't miss it. Book now at ghostcitytours.com.
Misty,
Quentin,
are you ready to look at submissions?
I am.
Woo! What do we have this time?
This time is a video, and I love videos, and this is actually our first video that we received, and this is from Andrew, who's actually an employee here at Ghost City Tours. He was working, and he captured this when he got a notification from his Ring doorbell. This is here in Covington, Louisiana. So let's watch the quick clip, and then we'll discuss it. Okay, so he's talking about the orbs, the 3 dots that are moving.
Why is it 3?
Oh, wait, now it looks like 4. Maybe it's because it's moving fast. And then there's 2 and gone.
What the heck is that?
I don't know. Wait, did you rewind it?
No.
Or is it on a loop?
I guess it's on a loop.
I don't know. Okay, so I don't know much about Ring doorbells. I'm not techie like that. I have no idea. At first, I've been thinking like car lights, but you don't see more, and they're not like piercing through like bright.
And they're not vertical.
Yeah, and they're moving quick where it looks like you could like a trail of whoosh. That's my sound effect.
Whoosh.
Yeah, you know what I mean, like whoosh,
But
like behind them.
they're not like individual. They're like in a stack. They're like tethered together. It's not like.
Yeah, but then as you were watching, it looked like some tethered away.
Then they came back.
And then they came back, and then it went from like 3 to 4 to 2. So what do you think?
I have no idea what that is.
That was odd. That was really odd, though.
If it was pointing up directly at the sky, I would say that's a UFO. That is an alien spaceship.
So you believe in aliens?
Sure, why not?
Okay, I'm with you. Yes.
We can't be the only people in the universe.
Do you know anything about Ring doorbells?
No.
Okay.
I don't have one.
I don't have one either. But I just didn't know, like, for him to get notification on his Ring.
Well, the Ring, any like security camera, because my parents have a thing, like the camera picks up cars passing by and the headlights of that, like in the distance. But that's not headlights.
Yeah, because I would think headlights would give a outcast effect of more light and not the whoosh.
Yeah,
after
it's
them.
not going to go back and forth.
Yeah. And I would think a
'Cause that's
street
not how
light is
cars
stable.
work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a street light is just staying.
And bugs don't, if it's a bug or anything or a speck of dust, they don't like plan out like.
What if they're love or glow bugs?
Fireflies?
Yes, and maybe flying as a group.
I don't think they're that like intricate. And
I'm just trying to think what
uniformed.
somebody else might watch and be like, those were da da da. I don't know what the hell that was.
It's a thing. Could be anything. I said it as a thing of like, I don't know.
Have you ever seen something like that before? On anything that you've watched of like spooky things? I haven't.
I've seen something like that in person.
Oh, you have?
Yes, I've seen a
Oh.
legitimate orb
Okay.
with its own like, almost like tail, luminescent tail that wasn't a reflection. It like moved sporadically in the corner of my eye, and it had a trail.
Like the whoosh with it.
Yeah.
Okay. That was just weird because it did seem like it was going, I don't know, like it couldn't decide. Do I want to go this way? Wait, do I want to go back? But we're all going together, the 3. I don't know. That was very interesting. And I like stuff like that. I like video because people will always look at pictures and they're like, well, you stand the wrong way. You moved, you did this. It wasn't, you need to take back pictures, a video. And Tim said on another one prior to, like, video's pretty solid as far as stuff like that. But I definitely thought headlights at first, but then you have the vehicle behind it that's not moving.
Right.
And it's not even running. So it's like there's a animate object not doing anything and then movement around it. So.
And it can't be a distortion of the lens, like making like 3 of one object, because then everything would be like that, and it's not.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yep. There'd be 3 of those trucks.
So
I don't know. Andrew, good video.
Yep.
So yeah. So I would just ask people, send us stuff like that. That's the good stuff to watch.
Pictures.
Yes. And where would they send them to?
You can send your submissions at hauntings@ghostcitytours.com. That is hauntings@ghostcitytours.com.
And then we'll go over them, reach out to you, go over them, and see what we think about them, because we're professionals.
Yes.
We're not, but yes, we pretend to be.
Well, now you ruined the magic.
No, we are professionals. We get stuff all the time, and we all are. Most of us are believers, except for the naysayers. So.
I've been doing this for 30 years.
So where did you see your orbs at, though?
Tennessee.
So you saw it not on camera. You saw it just from the corner
With
of your
my
eye.
own eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think it was? Anything? Orbs? Truck?
There is a technology standpoint for this, but we're not
Technology.
going to.
We have naysayers, where I'm a believer. I think that was great. So yeah, submit us your stuff, and we could go over it.
You just shut them down completely.
Yeah, I don't want to hear negativity. No room for negativity today.
Okay.
I thought it was great, because the other one's going to be negative Nancy, too. So, yeah.
Stonewall.
Yeah, Stonewall. But, yeah, I thought that one was good. So, yep, send us your submissions.
Yep. And we'll see you next week.
Yes, thanks, guys.
Bye.
Hometown Hauntings is brought to you by Ghost City Tours, offering tours in more than a dozen cities across the United States. Book now at ghostcitytours.com and use promo code HATCHET15 for 15% off. That's HATCHET15.